Hey there, folks. Podcast producer Danks here. Luke couldn't even do this because it's so top secret. Pretty cryptic, but be at the Blues Hog spot at the American Royal on Thursday night for something wild. More to come.
OVS, Old Virginia Smoke. OVS, Old Virginia Smoke. OVS, Old Virginia Smoke.
This podcast is brought to you by the Kansas City Barbecue Store, the official provider of barbecue supplies to listeners of Pitmaster. The dog days of summer are here, which means it's prime barbecue season. The grills are kicking, and as we get in those last days of summer, you really got to make sure you have what you need. But it also means that the American Royal is right around the corner. From smokers and fuel to rubs and sauces, the Kansas City Barbecue Store has everything and anything you could want. Make the Kansas City Barbecue Store your one-stop shop for everything that you need for the American Royal. I know that I will. This year at the American Royal, we'll be doing our first live Pitmaster podcast broadcast from Kansas Speedway with the great folks at the Kansas City Barbecue Store. We hope to have a lot of teams come by and say hi, and we think it's going to be a lot of fun. So as a listener of the Old Virginia Smoke Pitmaster podcast, you can get 10% off of your order this American Royal season by using the code PITPOD, PITPOD, and for online orders at www.thekansascitybarbecuestore.com. Good morning, everybody. My name is Luke Darnell, host of Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. And this morning I have the pleasure of spending some time with my good friend Johnny Trigg. Johnny, how are you today?
Doing great.
It's good to hear from you, my friend. One of my favorite stories to tell about barbecue is the time that you and I spent together at the Big 12 tournament when we got to watch some basketball together.
There you go.
That was a lot.
Didn't turn out too well, though. West Virginia whooped up on my Longhorns.
Well, they also whipped up on Texas Tech that day, if I remember that correctly. And
yeah.
We had a little fun with somebody when that happened. That was fun. So what have you been doing, man?
Oh, just taking it easy. I'm not cooking much anymore right there. And I haven't quit altogether, but it's getting pretty close to it. I'm just getting too old. I turned 84 last week.
84.
84. Yep.
You don't seem 84. You don't seem 84.
Well, I feel it. But anyway, I still enjoy it. And I probably do about 7 or 8 cook-offs a year right now.
That's good.
One of the things I am doing, I'm doing for KCBS, this Johnny Trigg shootout, and we've done 6 cook-offs this year. We got one more to go next week, and all I do is go over there and go around and chat with the cookers and promote KCBS, and with the promoter, work with them and about KCBS, and it's a lot of fun right there.
Do you think that they'll do that series again next year?
They've already asked me if I would do it next year. They're all being done in Texas right now.
Yeah.
This year they all 7 of them are in Texas, and I don't think they're going to continue to do it one more year in Texas. And then they may spread it out right there. They're happy with the results of the ones we've done this year, and so it's a lot of fun right there. Go around and chat with the various cookers and talk to them about barbecue, and also promote KCBS right there. KCBS is not well known in Texas. They have about 5 or 6 events that they have down here, and there's probably hundreds of cook-offs in a year's time in Texas, but they're mostly all under the Texas organizations.
Yeah, either IBCA or CBA.
Yeah, and they've got a new one that's kind of a spinoff of IBCA. It's called Outlaw, and it's mainly up here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. And it's killing the IBCA up in this area right here.
Yeah.
And the CBA is coming on real strong all over the state right there. And it's sort of a combination of IBCA and Outlaw and KCBS right there. I kind of like it right there. And they do the 4 meats. They do pork, where IBCA and Outlaw, they don't do pork. It's just chicken, ribs, and brisket right there.
Yeah.
But it's coming on real strong right there.
Good. Well, if they do the Johnny Trigg shootout again next year, I'm going to come down and cook one of them.
Okay, come on, come down next week. We're hurting for cookers down in Houston out there. It's a double header with CBA. They do theirs Friday, Saturday, and then KCBS is Saturday, Sunday, and we're not having very good success getting cookers. Of course, the Royal is next weekend.
Yeah,
and then that cook-off in Houston, and then the Jacks the next weekend. So
kind of a rough weekend.
That's hurting them. Yeah, it's hurting them right there. And it's established cook-off down in Houston, and a lot of their regulars, their excuse is that they've just gone for the Royal and the wore out and spent money,
Yeah.
Fuel has prices and meat prices too has really hurt cook-off this year. Right there, they're down all over the country. I understand.
Absolutely, yeah. We've seen it a lot here on the East Coast too.
Yeah. So it's and it doesn't look any promising for next year either. But our good president, if he can get that, because he said the other night there's no inflation.
Yeah, I don't think that's right.
I don't know what he's been smoking. But anyway, it'll work out, hopefully, right there.
Yeah. Well, how long have you been cooking competition barbecue?
How long?
Yeah.
I started in March of 1990. What's that, about 30 years, something like that?
Yeah, 32 years, yeah.
And I did the first 5 or 6 years, it was all here in Texas at an IBCA. And I bought my first cooker and down in Fort Worth, offset. It wasn't a Jimbo. Jamie was building it then. But it was an offset stick burner, and we got it. And then there used to be a little newspaper called The Pit down here that was all about barbecue. And it had schedule, sort of like the bullshit, and we'll cook off her. So I looked at it, and I saw one up in Denton, Texas. So I told Mama, I said, "Come on, we're gonna go up there and cook." We got this brand new pit, not knowing. And I had been cooking it at home. I bought my first offset, a little small in '84, and not knowing what in the world do I burned up a lot of briskets right there to try to cook them. So but I enjoyed it, and so anyway, we went up there, and we looked down. I looked down there. It was at a nice Columbus hall, and there was 9 cookers down there looking. They were all standing down there on a tree. I said, "We're not going to go down there. Those guys, they probably know what they're doing." So we parked up closer to the building. And here a little bit, here comes this gentleman named Joe Sloan. I'll never forget him. And he's a little short guy, skinny guy. And he came up to me and he said, he introduced himself. And he said, "Been cooking long?" I said, "Oh, yeah, long time." And I wasn't lying. He said, "Well, let me kind of rephrase it. How about competition?" I said, "Well, you got me there. This is my first one right here." And he said, "Would you like some help?" And I said, "Absolutely." He said, "Well, let me see your spices." Well, the night before we went up there, Mom and I, we had a Suburban, and we got every spice she had in the kitchen. Put them in boxes. And that Suburban was loaded, and I showed him all these. He was very grateful. And he said, "Let me come. I'll be right back." He came back, and he had a four or five bottles of spices there. And he said, "Let's do this on the chicken and out there, and let's do this on the ribs, and let's do this on the brisket." And I said, "Okay." And lo and behold, we got third place brisket that day. They had a bean category, and Mama won the beans right there. That was our first one, so we were really hooked. And he told me, so well, there's another one down the road at a horse ranch down here, closer into Denton. And he said, "Why don't you come down there?" So I did. And I parked in front of it. We were parked around the racetrack. And there was three gentlemen right behind me right there. And one of them was named Ricky Burnside. And that's when I learned how to cook ribs right there. And Ricky showed me.
Really?
And yes. And so I've always been grateful for him on that right there. 'Cause, I used his recipe from day one. Still to this day, I still do it. And unfortunately, he's no longer with us. He's died 5-6 years ago. And he was a great brisket cooker too. And all he used is a rub down here called Atkins, and that's all he put on the brisket. And he put a lot of smoke to it. I mean, he didn't even wrap it right there. And, but it had a great taste to it.
That's
so it
amazing.
just kind of went on from there. We got a couple of calls there, and of course that was getting the spring of the year, and so the cooking was getting more and more. And around Denton, there was an organization called North Texas Barbecue Association, and that's what I cook under for probably the first 5 years. And they had a lot of cook-offs right in that area up there. And I got to the point where I was manager of our office where I work, and I was never in the office on Friday. I was cooking right there. Every once in a while, I'd fool them. I wouldn't cook. I'd come in and surprise them. I said, "Okay," I'd check and see if y'all are working or not. They all laughed. But anyway, that's how I got started. And then my first KCBS contest was in Eureka Springs, Arkansas, and there were 4 or 5 of us cookers down here. We had that, but back in those days, there was no money. I mean, if you got any money, it was $10, $15 or something like that. And the trophies were usually a plaque of wood that they either burned it in the first place, second place, whatever, or got a can of paint and painted it on there.
Yeah.
But the entrance fees too were also, they were $20 and $25 right there. But
that's changed
a lot of beer drinking. These boys down here, they drink that beer right there, cooking right there. So anyway, that's how it went. And then we did that at the KCBS contest, and I really liked it. And so I won a state championship out of Big Springs, Texas, and that qualified me for the Jack.
Oh wow!
And so back then it was first come, first serve. I mean, you get you in, and they take it. Back then they only take about 30. And so I when they sent it out, I was up at Decatur, Texas. It's north of Fort Worth, about 50 miles. And somebody called and said, well, "The entry forms from the Jack are here. It came in the mail today." This was Saturday. So there were 3 or 4 of us were eligible. So we all ran home right quick and got our mailbox and I filled it out, and out at DFW Airport, they had a post office out there. It was open 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. And I filled it out, and a friend of mine did the same thing. And we went out there and took it, and we asked the postmaster there, said, how do we know what time this will get there? I said, will it get there Monday? And he said, yeah, if you want to pay the freight for it, it will. So we did. And I got a response back. Got a phone call, and mine was delivered at 10:09 or something like that. And so that I got into the Jack. Long story short, and that was a KCBS. It wasn't a lot of people don't understand. It's not a sanctioned cook-off.
Right.
Jack, they just use their rules right there. But of course, you have to turn in 7 pieces of meat. Right there, we're a minimum of 7. But anyway, we went up there. Gosh, I looked at all these guys around there, and there was only about 35 teams there. And there was a team from Memphis in May. I couldn't believe all the trophies he had. He had a flatbed 18-wheeler, and it was just loaded with trophies. And
he brought all those trophies down there?
Yeah, he sure did. His name was Jim Turner. He's probably not even alive now, but he was a hell of a Memphis and May cooker. And trophies, and then cookers. He had all kinds of cookers. And there were quite a few Memphis and May teams, and I walked around there watching them cook the hog. And back then, the Jack, you had option of cooking either pork butt or a hog. Uh-huh. And I watched them cook that thing. They stayed up all night, and I stayed right there and watched them talk to them. I learned a lot from them, and they knew I was a rookie, and they were all grateful. So that was the first time I went to the Jack, and I think that was around, probably 94, 93. Mm-hmm. 93, I think it was. So, and then I kept on. I started cooking, and then I started cooking more KCBS. And so in 2000 was the first time I won the Jack. And I was just, Mama and I were just unreal. And we had a 4th, a 5th, and a 6th, and a 9th.
Wow.
And so we placed in all 4 categories. They had 4 of them. And I told her, we just won this thing. She said, well, the highest score we had was a 4th. I said, nobody else had 4 deals right there. But there was one team from Kansas City smoking in the boys' room. They don't cook anymore, but they were on them. And she did all the cooking, and he did all the drinking. he just watched the fire. And they had 3 calls. And so, mathematically, they could beat me.
They could have got you, but yeah.
They got second, and I got first, and we were just ecstatic. I mean, out there. And I cried like a baby when I went and got my trophy. Then we went back in 2003, and I repeated right there. At that time, I had 3 calls, but 2 of them were first places.
Oh, wow.
They were 180 chicken and a 180 brisket. And I was, after I got the score sheet, I was 11th or 12th in the call. I think it was pork. So I didn't place in. And so we were astounded when we won that. So anyway, barbecue has been just fabulous to me, and we just went on from there, and we just completely quit cooking in Texas, and then we bought a motor home.
Yep.
And we started going, and we used to, in the summertime, we'd stay out about 2 or 3 months. And we cooked mostly in Iowa and Missouri, Illinois, up in that part of the country. Mm-hmm. And then we did quite well. And we kept kept going and right there, and I was the hottest thing out there. And when I'd pull up, they'd say, I remember hearing Darren Worth one time, "Oh shit, here's Trigg. We're shooting for second place." Right there. Darren and I talk about that a lot now. Of course, he's one of the best cookers out there. But but anyway, it was fun. And then came along, and here come John Marcus, who's creator of Barbecue Pitmasters. He started out in the Pitmaster started in 2009.
Mm-hmm.
And but he had a cook-off deal on the 2005, and I was cooking in Mobile, Alabama, and Chris Lee brought John down and introduced him to me, and he was telling about his concept of this series he was going to have, and it was a series of three cooks. And you couldn't use your rub, you couldn't use your cooker, you couldn't your meat. They furnished all that stuff. And I looked at him and I said, "I'm going to tell you something, young man. If I come up there and I'd raise the lid and I saw that there was a goose right here, and you decided to put my hand under my chin, I just wave it. I said, goodbye. I'd walk right off that set right there." I used the example of Tiger Woods. Of course, Tiger then was hot as he could be.
Yeah.
I said, when he pulls up the country club, he pushes the button for that trunk open up, and he gets his clubs, his balls, his shoes, and all that. He didn't go in the clubhouse and get a set of rent clubs and all that stuff.
Right.
So John, to this day, says I picked him up and threw him against my motorhome. He told me to get the hell out of there. Well, that wasn't true, but he swears up and down I did. I told him to get out of there, and I didn't do it. And later he told me, and said, "Johnny, that was the smartest thing you ever did in your life." It was a terrible, terrible series. It was on remember the Versus network?
Yeah.
It was on that, and it was terrible. They furnished, there was three cookers, just like Pitmaster did, and they had a spice cabinet that had every Adam spice, and it was a huge number of bottles. I mean, they had this rack and everything. So you had to get in, make your rubs and all that stuff. And anyway, the first one they did was in Hammond, Louisiana. And I walked over and looked, and I just shook my head. I said, "Man, I can't believe they're doing this right there." And my ex-buddy, old Mike Davis, I think he won it right there. I don't know how, but he did. But anyway, we went on, and then in 06, John put together a cook-off in Reno, Nevada, and it was called Barbecue All-Stars. And he invited 18 teams from around the country. And
right, this was Mike from QAL was there, right?
Do what?
Was Mike Wozniak from QAL there?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah.
In fact, Mike and I went ahead. Mike and I and a group of New York firemen. That was after 9/11.
Mm-hmm.
There were about 6 or 7 of them. John invited them down there. Those boys, bless their heart, they didn't know what the hell to do. They didn't know how to start a fire. They had all these herbs. And I was on one end, and they were in the middle, and Mike was on the other end, right there. And but we could use our rub, but we had to have enough rub for our competitors, like Mike and his firemen. If they wanted to use my rub, they put them in a rack over there, and they had to do the same thing. And we could go. We had 5 minutes to go there and get our rub. And of course, my rub was over there also. So I'd go in and we'd grab mine. And I never used anybody else's, and I don't think anybody else did either. But anyway, I walked with that thing in the first round. So you had 3 meats. You had a long cook, a medium cook, and a short cook. and we had a cooks meeting, and they told us, each one of us, what our categories, what we was going to be cooking. And I drew for my long cook whole chicken. Well, hell, I grew up in Texas down here cooking whole chicken. Oh,
Right.
you cut them in half. They still. So I asked them. I said, "Can I butterfly that chicken?" And they said, "Well, yeah, it's still connected." Yeah. I said, "Great." So I just like cooking half chicken.
Yep.
Well, I won the long cook, and my medium cook was country style ribs. I said, well, shit, that's right out of my head.
Right.
And I killed them. I killed them in ribs right there. Those country style, 'cause that's nothing but pork butt.
Right.
But I cooked it like I did cooked my ribs, and I did that. And here comes the short cook, and I was one on the tail end of the 18 right there. And everybody's category, the short cook, it turned out to be seafood. So I told Mama, I said, huh?
What'd you end up with?
I ended up with rainbow trout. So here comes the fun. They gave us 20 different possibilities, and so did Pitmaster, because we didn't know what we was going to cook either. But they gave you ahead of time 20 different things that they would pick from those 20 what you would be cooking. So we were ready for and we couldn't agree on how much. And I was going to grill it. They had a green egg out there, and I was going to cook it on that. I had my jumbo. You cook your long cook and your medium cook on that, and then they had a grill for you to use. And I think it was a green egg. Mm-hmm. Anyway, we couldn't agree on the ingredients right there. But I finally, and we got in an argument out there. And old Daryl Dawkins, the old basketball player, from Philadelphia, he was one of the judges. And as John said later, he had to go up there one morning and kick his door down to get him up, get him out of bed to come down there and do it. So he was something else anyway. So when we had to get the results, we had to go stand in front of them, and they would critique us and give us the results. And so first old Dawkins he said, young man, you a little rough on your woman down there. He said, I just nearly had to come out of that chair and come down and attend to you. I just bit my tongue right there. And I told John later right there, and I said, I started telling him, won't you get your ass down here and make it even? I'd grab my poker. So he was about 10 feet tall. And,
I was going to say, he's not a small man.
But I didn't right there. But anyway, I was 40 points ahead of QL. Well, and those firemen, they weren't even. I don't know. They were last, of course. But I said, and I said, well, shit, I'm 40 points ahead, but I can wing it right there. Mike beat me by 1 point. And he brought a boy from up in Iowa that was a good cooker to be on his team. You could pick 2 people to be on your team. Of course, I picked Trish, my wife, and the next one I cooked was Rod Gray. Yeah. And we got that fish. Rod looked at me and said, "Don't look at me. I don't know how to cook it." I go, "What the hell are you doing here if you're not going to help me?" He said, "Well, I never cooked fish in my life." So, that was an interesting deal. But anyway, we got eliminated, so that was it right there. Yeah. But that's funny. Byron was there. He got eliminated the first round too, and I forgot who all went, but there were 18 pretty good cooks out there. So anyway, that's some of my stories right there. Yeah, no,
that's amazing. It's I think about all the time, all the people that you've taught over the years. How many people you think you've taught how to cook over the years?
I don't have any clue. I wish it's got to be, I don't know, because I generally have I cut it off around 50. I have had more than 50. Rod and I started out doing the classes together.
Yeah.
And we did it together for about 2, maybe 3 years. And he called me over one time. In fact, he invited me to. We were up in Maryland, down there down there on the coast where the Navy base is.
Yeah, Annapolis.
No, not Annapolis.
I'm trying to think.
Big seafood area.
Yeah.
Right there. Anyway, he said, I want to talk to you. He came over and he said, I want to start teaching classes and I want you to join me. Go with me. And I said, I can't teach class. I couldn't do that. I'll be too bashful. So I said, no. Mike Davis, he started. He had one right after that and had it at the Jack up on the hill.
Mm-hmm.
He got some of the people at the Jack to talk to the hierarchy so he could teach up there where they serve the dinner on Friday night.
Yeah.
He taught up there, and he had a pretty good turnout because he was hot then, thanks to me. I taught him how to cook. He didn't know shit about how to cook, but anyway, he lied to him. Oh, he lied to him. That made me so mad. So I called Rod. I said, "Is that opportunity still open about teaching class with you?" And he said, "Yeah. Why'd you change your mind?" I said, "I just told him about Davis, what he did." I said, I can't stand that. He get up there and lie to all these people and charge them money. Right there. So anyway, Rod and I went and did it, and we traveled all over the country, cooking, and teaching classes, and had good success at it. And finally, Rod said, I said, we're not making any money doing this, but if we split up and do it on our own, we could make some money off this. I said,
Mm-hmm.
well, I'm happy right there, but if that's what you want to do, we'll do it because it's your idea to begin with right there.
Yeah.
And so we did. And he got where he couldn't draw right there, and he finally quit right there. I felt sorry for him with that, but Rod and I we're good friends, and to this day. In fact, I was the one that pushed him to put his name in the offer for the CEO of KCBS.
That's funny. Yeah. So did I.
Yeah, right there. And I talked to him, I don't know, more in the last month or so than I had probably in the last 3 years or whatever.
Yeah.
But he just got out of the barbecue. But he's calling me about this, that, and the other, and asked me something right there. But Rod is a smart man. Oh, he is very, very smart. And,
yeah, I think
he'll do it.
I agree with you. I think he's one of the smartest people I know, and I just think he's going to do a lot of good things for barbecue. So I'm super happy about that.
Yeah. Right there, because he was on the board for I didn't know he said in his resume 5 years. I didn't know it was that long, but he resigned because of Merle. Remember him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He and his wife Carol, they were both on the board at the same time. And Mike Lake was president right there, and they could not shut him up at board meetings, and it'd be 12 or 1 o'clock on board meetings right there before they get through because of all his interruptions, and he was the so-called attorney, and he threatened all this legal stuff to him all the time. And I told Mike Lake one time, I said, "Well, challenge him. Tell him that's reading that courthouse is over there, down there."
Right.
He's always threatening to put him going to sue him and this and that. And I said, well, "Shit, just challenge him." By the way, he died here just sometime early part of this year.
Yeah.
But anyway, Rod will do a great job. He's a good. He thinks good, and I'm sure the board will back him right there.
I think so too. So
he's afraid up. He thinks KCBS, it's kind of going down, and he doesn't want it. He doesn't want to be the CEO if they fold up right there. And I said, they're not going to fold up, Rod, right there.
no,
He said, I don't have that on my resume.
no,
Right
I think he'll do it. I think he'll get it back on the upswing before too long.
Yeah. He sold both his cookers and everything, and his
Oh,
trailer and everything. Travis
Yeah.
bought one of his cookers, and Wood have bought the other one. That Travis bought, he's buying cookers left and right there. I think he told me we were at Alamosa, Colorado in August, and he was there. And I think he told me he had eight or nine Jambos he's bought. And
Wow.
right there.
I got 2.
But
That's plenty.
he's starting to cook again right there. His new bride, he's got a big-ass, long 40-foot trailer he bought. It's made up there in Iowa where Darren's was.
He had a little problem last week.
Yeah, he did. He cannot stand to lose. I mean, he gets so mad. He's got a temper like he believe. At Alamosa, he didn't do real good, and he goes to the refs and he said, "I don't see the trays," and they'll show him. He wants to make sure that it was his tray, not somebody. They got mummered different right there. But I told him, I said, "You just got to grow up." I've told him that before. You just got to grow up, boy. You can't win all the time.
Can't win them all.
I'd hate to been there. He's coming down. I'm cooking in Georgia the weekend of the Jack. I've become a real good friend. So the guy that puts that on, he's the Budweiser distributor, and I cook these contests every year, and he does a fabulous job. Doug, yeah.
Doug is he's become one of my good friends. Anytime that I'm down south now, I got to be next to Barrel Fever.
Yeah, Barrel Fever. Yeah,
we have a good time.
Yeah, we've cooked Alamosa the last 3 years, and we have a great time right there.
One of my favorite when we're talking about your students and stuff and all the stuff that you've done on TV, one of my favorite old Virginia smoke stories was I had forgotten my Craig's rib candy one day at a contest. So I'm walking around and I'm asking people if they got it. Ain't nobody got it. And I got back to the trailer and I looked at Kim and I said, maybe the problem is that I'm asking for this and nobody's got it. Maybe I shouldn't be using it. I said, well, I got to put something else. I said, I got to put something else in this rib wrap. And I look across and I see my friend Kirby from Kirby Q, and he's got the bottle of tiger sauce sitting there on the table. I walked out there and I said, Kirby, he goes, what? I was like, can I borrow that tiger sauce for a little bit? I was like, I forgot mine and I'm getting ready to wrap ribs. And he's like, sure, man, it's a big ball. Let's take what you want. He goes, but if you do well with it, you gotta call me out when you're walking up there. I said, okay. So went and grabbed a bottle of tiger sauce, put it in the rib wrap, 180 ribs that day. And, I just laughed my whole way to the stage and pointed at Kirby, and I was like, "This is from watching Johnny Trigg on TV."
Yeah, I get ticked. Of course, Pitmaster. That was my downfall. When I got on it and did well on it right there. First contest we did was in Mesquite, Nevada. And at a casino out there. Labor Day weekend. Hot. God almighty, it was hot because it's only 75 miles north of Vegas. and we was on an asphalt parking lot, and we all had easy ups. So the trader business wasn't going on then.
Right.
And so, I mean, I had cooked it 2 or 3 years before that. Anyway, that contest out there, and now I lost my train of thought right here.
Where were you? You were out in...
Oh, well, shit. Well, anyway, that was the first one up there, and I had that tiger sauce. That's tiger sauce right there. And somebody came, what are you using that for? What is that? And I said, well, I use it on my ribs and pork right there. And so, I know what it was. Before the contest started, the hierarchy, that was a real Hollywood event. Filming, they had a lot of people do filming down in Hollywood up there. And this guy told us, said worked for Discovery. He said, this show is going to air in third week in September. He said, after that show airs, y'all's life will change. You'll be able to go anywhere where some people recognize you, this, that, and the other. And I said, yeah, well, bullshit. Lo and behold, that he's ever true. To this day, I can't go anywhere. I can go to Walmart, and I guarantee it'll be at least 2 people come up to me and say something. You Johnny Trigg right there? Yeah. Right there. And it's still, well, it got to, when I went to go to cook-off right there, and Rod used to, we'd be parked next to it. He said, you're going to have to run those people off. I said, Rod, I can't do that. I just can't do it. He said, well, let's go. And they did. It hurt me. So I finally did. I turned to a horse's ass, and I'd say at 10 o'clock to 2 o'clock, it's off limits. I said, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm concentrating on my cooking. Unless there was a child involved. Mm-hmm. And I can't say no. I don't care what I'm doing. Some dad raises kid up there. And the famous things they say, right, that these parents say, so they get home from school in the afternoon, and they usually want a cookie or a glass of milk or something like that. Mm-hmm. He said, no, they go turn the TV. They've had all the Pitmasters recorded, and they want to watch. He said, they want to watch Johnny Trigg. Wants to watch Johnny Trigg. And I'm not bragging or anything, but probably the most famous one of them Pitmasters right there. Myers right there, but he's popular because he's a horse's ass. And I tell people tell me that. He said, that old gruffy old man said he cusses and he does all this. And I said, he's just a pussycat. It's all cool. He's really a good, and I'm serious. We're good friends. Friends.
He's one of the nicest guys out there.
Yeah. But, because he tells it like it is. Then when he was a judge, I could figure him out. When we were filming, when he was judging right there, he loves sauce. He wants sauce on everything. And a lot of people didn't figure that out. If you didn't have sauce, he'd tell you. He said, where's my sauce? Where's my sauce? Right there. And so I do that. And also he wanted a smoke ring. Right there. Yeah. So I make sure my meat had smoke rings on it. Right there. And the funniest one is old Warren South, the old NFL football player out Florida.
Yeah.
He just, they won series. And they put Warren right next to Myron. And on the other one there was this, he used to be Oprah Winfrey's private chef right there. And he didn't like sauce right there, so you had a hard time right there. But anyway, Warren right there, he would watch Myron and the guy that was doing all the talking. I'd ask him, I said, what about you, Warren? He Yeah, I agree with Myron. And he said, but he loved my sauce. He said, young man, I want that recipe of that sauce. And I said, you and 10,000 others would like to have it too. He said, I'm going to get it. And I said, no, you're not for me. You're not going to get it. And all it was head country.
That's funny. All it was head country.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Myron just thought it was great too. I mean, I didn't mix it in. It was straight out of the bottle.
This podcast is brought to you by BarbecueData.com. BarbecueData.com is your one-stop shop for all of your barbecue competition data. Historical data, calls, wins, placements, everything under one roof. It's a great way not only to track yourself in the standings, but also to track how you improve your scores from year to year. Listeners of this podcast can receive 20% off of a new subscription to BarbecueData.com with the code PITPOD. That's one word, all capital letters, PITPOD, PITPOD. So check your team scores, check on others, and do it all on BarbecueData.com. One of my favorite questions, Johnny, is, we talk about our successes all the time, but do you have an example of when something went wrong at a contest where you really learned something, where you had a big failure and it really taught you something moving forward?
Say that again.
Do you have a favorite failure of yours at a contest where something went wrong and you really learned something?
Where something went wrong?
Yeah.
Yeah, learn from it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, all the time. Right there. But the main thing is overcooking and undercooking right there.
Yeah.
And in particular my ribs, because, they don't want them falling off the bones. And sometimes I couldn't, because I'd cook them 2 hours and then wrap them for 2 hours. And
yeah.
It's sometimes on ribs like they'd be done in 3 hours, and either I wasn't paying attention, and that's been mostly after Pitmasters right there, because I get so much interruption right there.
Yeah.
And I look at my damn temperature be up 400 degrees, 350 is right there. That's old shit right there. But that, and I just, and Mama did get on to me and said, you got to pay attention. Quit talking to these people right there. Because I've got an alligator, if you already know, well, I was conversating this morning, I got an alligator mouth, so you can't shut me up.
Do you have any, you got any superstitions or rituals or things that you got to do at a contest when you're there?
I never thought about that. No, I probably do, but I can't think of it. Right there. Right there.
No, yeah. How many pits you got right now?
Huh?
How many pits do you have right now?
2.
2?
Yeah, I got 2 Jambos. I got a J5 and a J3. I've had as many as 4 or 5. I used to buy them used, people out there, and I wouldn't even haggle on price on them.
Yeah.
And I'd get them, and I knew I could sell them with my name, right? And they're so. That's the only thing that goes up in value. You buy an automobile, it goes down in value. You buy a Jambo, a used one is more expensive than a new one because you get it right now.
Right.
Well, I say right now. I was over talking to Jamie the other day. He's 13 months out now. That's the first time I ever heard him say it. And he always says, I'm quitting that. I'm going to finish my orders I got up to a certain period of time. I'm going to fill that, and then I'm not going to take any more. And I just look at him and I said, Jamie, well, you spend money you could never reach. never could quit. And he's in the car race, and he's been in that now for probably 7 or 8 years, and that's expensive. That's expensive.
It's
As a driver, it's a young man out and lives in California that brings him in to drive his car. Now that's not cheap.
no.
I guarantee. He told me the other day, he said, I'd give him 25% of the winnings right there. I said, that's all?
That's all.
I don't believe that. Then he's paying his expenses too. So
Yeah.
Jamie, I've known Jamie for 30, 40 years right there. So he's a great guy. Biggest bullshitter that ever walked on 2 legs right there. And he's funny. What's funny is we're in Las Vegas at the Stardust at a cook-off. Can't remember what year it was, but it was a guy Houston that put it on. And in the Stardust, they had 40 teams, I think they cut off, but they had it at an employee parking lot out back. Well, down in the basement where you could just walk out to the parking lot on Friday night, they put a bunch of blackjack tables down there.
Uh-huh.
And so I never played jack at all. And so James said, he called his Pop, said, Pop, come on in here. Let's go. We're going to go play blackjack. And I said, I don't know how to play that. And he said, I'll show you. But he is so funny. He gets a dealer. You get one and it won't talk to you or just, just set that shuffling cards and all that. That just tears Jamie up. But he'll have him rolling in the floor in just a little time. We were in Kansas City at the Royal one time, and there were about 7 or 8 of us went over to the casinos. And we didn't know this. You lose $500, you have to sit down for an hour or 2. You can't play. They keep a track of what you lose. They've won.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie lost $500 for a cat licked his ass. He came and said, "Come on, boys, let's go. We got to get back out there and get ready to go cook tomorrow." And we tell him, "Look, homeboy, this is Bill Meyer. He's down here. He's dead now, but he said, look, homeboy." He said, just because you lost your damn money, the money the rest of us have right there, we can still play." He was just nervous. He's walking around right there, and he came back. He said, "Okay, dealer, deal me in." He looked at him. He said, "You got so much longer. You got to wait." But particularly a woman, she's dealing all. He'll have her rolling on the floor. Come on now, sweetheart. Come on now. You know. That trip, there were 4 of them. Jamie and 3 of his friends. They had 2 teams. Well, Jamie won about. I think he won around a couple $1,000 in the cook-off, and so they were divided. They divided up on the 4 of them. Well, that's what they used to do down here. They had the same bunch right there. They team up. I got talking about cheating right there. There's a ticket number deal right there. They swatch tickets.
Yeah.
So they if they won, then they go split the money up between the 4 of them. But anyway. Me and another friend here, we were leaving and coming back home. Early, we got up and we walked down the parking lot about 6:00, and they were going to play a little while Saturday night, and then because they all had to go to work, be working Monday morning. And I looked down there, and their cookers were still there. They hadn't even broke down, they hadn't even packed up or anything. I said, "That son of a bitch got lucky and won a lot of money on blackjack or crap they won." But sure enough, he did.
Yeah.
And and they all split it. And this one boy, good friend of Jamie, right there, he couldn't take care of money right there. He was a heavy equipment operator then, and he lost all. I forgot how much he won because he went in there and that time on the slot machines they had a catwalk behind the machines. They'd walk to change money and stuff, all that right there. And Jimmy raced up there, gave her, come here, sweetie, gave her $100 bill. He said, which one of the machines ready to go? And she just kind of looked over to one and winked right there. I'll be damned if he didn't hit a $10,000 jackpot. So they divided all that money up, and old Bobby, he lost everything. He was down there, and he came up, and he said, Johnny, you loan me $1 so I can get a cup of coffee? I said, what happened? And he said, well, he told me what happened, and Jamie did. And he said, I lost all of mine. And he said, I am flat ass broke.
Can't even get a cup of coffee.
He couldn't get a cup of coffee. So I said, well, where's the rest of them? He said, they're up there showering up. Said, we're going to have to drive all day and all night to get back to work the next Monday morning.
Yeah.
Well, you've been so funny.
That's hilarious.
They should charge admission to watch him when he's out there. The sayings he's got, he's just funny. Sometimes on Pitmasters, he makes some of the comments right. I saw him the other day, and on that last Pitmaster they were filming in 2015. That's what's amazing me about those shows. They're still showing those things.
They still show them, and I mean,
every Friday and Saturday. Right. They're probably on right now, out there.
If I'm flipping through it, I'll stop.
Down a little bit.
Yeah,
I tell people, people tell me, well, I saw you win that $50,000 over North Carolina the other day. I said, I can't believe they're still showing them. But Pitmasters was the greatest thing that ever happened to Discovery.
Absolutely.
And, they got John Marcus, the creator. He got crosswaves with Discovery, and they fired his ass. And they got that crew out of Denver, and they didn't know shit about barbecue. They only lasted a year and a half.
Yeah.
What they didn't realize, John was is a writer, and lives in New York City. He's right off. His address is 234 Central Parkway Drive. He's right across the Central Parkway. And he's got a bachelor's and master's from Stanford in writing. And he used to write and produce the Bill Cosby Show.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that.
He would tell us, he said, well, when Bill dies or goes on, I'm going to write the most interesting book about him right there. And so when it all came out about Bill's problems with women and all that, I called John immediately and said, now I know what it is. He said, you figured it out, didn't you? he said, I knew all that, but I wasn't going to. And his mother was still alive at that time, and she lived in California out there. Mm-hmm. And he had to get her okay on almost everything. He'd call her and get her right there, John said. And when he called John in one day, and then he said, well, John, I got to fire you. I said, you or Mama? He said, well, Mama told me to get rid of you. I said, okay. So John's got his dad, and he has a twin brother and two other brothers, and they're all doctors. Oh, wow. And here John, and his dad always told him, he lived in Columbus, he grew up in Columbus, Ohio. Mm-hmm. And his dad was the coroner for the county or whatever. So he called his dad at noontime and told his dad, I just want to let you know, Bill just fired me. He said his dad didn't miss a beat. He said, John, it's not too late for you to go to pharmacy school. He said, Dad, don't worry about me. I am financially well healed.
I'm good to go. Oh,
his twin brother's a heart surgeon in Milwaukee.
Oh, wow.
And the other two brothers are general practitioners right there. But John he's a great guy right there.
Well, Johnny, you've been super generous with your time today. I do have one more question I want to ask you because you're the answer to this question when I ask a lot of people. And the question is, when you hear the word successful in terms of barbecue, who's the first person to come to mind?
Joe Sloan, that
Joe
little man
Sloan.
that showed me. Yeah. If it hadn't been for him, I would have never made it.
That's
and Ricky
amazing.
Burnside. Ricky Burnside, he's the one that showed me how to cook ribs right there.
That's amazing.
He was the tiger sauce and parquet guy right there.
That's awesome.
I get it. You remember that talk show? It was back. I nearly said it then. Anyway, they call in people gossiping and everything.
Oh yeah.
They, I can't think. He's one that first came out of injectors.
With injections.
Right. Yeah, injecting meat, brisket.
Yeah.
Oh, what was that show called? Anyway, they'd get on there, and I'd get on, listen to it, and they'd have a deal that said, "What's in that blue bottle?" I'd get the biggest kick. Or I didn't listen to it. It was written. They wrote it down right there. Well, you get it on the computer, and it was everything but butter. It'd be barbecue sauce. It'd be this. I'd get the biggest kick out of that right there. And tiger sauce the same way. So that can't be what's originally in that bottle right there. Anyway, it is.
It is.
Yeah. But anyway, I'd have to say Ricky Burnside and Joe Sloan right there. First thing that come to my mind. Because he's the one that gave me, and Ricky's dead, and I don't know, Joe maybe too. I just dead. Right there.
Yeah. Well, Johnny, I want to thank you.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed it. Now let me tell you this. You feel honored. You know how many people I've turned down about doing this. Oh, man.
I'm 100% honored, and I know that. And, yeah.
When you said, when I saw you calling me, I knew what you were at. And I told Trish, I said, I can't turn him down. He's too good a guy. But that idiot in Ohio, what's his name?
Oh, Greg?
Yeah, has that show right there.
Yeah.
I had him flip on one the other night, and he was interviewing Rod right after Rod got the CEO job right there.
Yeah.
Rod put him in his place. He tried to shake Rod up a little bit. You're not going to shake up Rod Gray. He's too fast on his feet. He'd be good back to go to Vegas and those comedians right there. They pick out somebody in the audience and work them over right there. Rod could hold his own.
Rod could do that. Yep.
Well,
listen,
buddy,
bud,
thank you very much for listening to me and putting up my BS and all this stuff out there. But,
I love your BS. That's fun. But I'm going to try and I'm going to be at the Royal, and I'm super excited. I like where my food's at, and we'll see. I got just as good a chance as anybody,
Yeah. I cooked it 22 times, and I never did win it. I came in second twice, and but they have an old timer deal. If you've cooked a Royal 20 times,
yeah,
they pull your scores out, and then they call out a winner of that. and I won it. I think once. I know I won it once. Might have been the last year I cooked it right there. I didn't know what the hell it was. They called me up there. All right, buddy. Well, good luck there at the Royal right there, and hopefully we'll see you somewhere down the road right there.
Absolutely. I'm gonna come down to Texas and see you.
I still got a little fire left right there. I miss the people. I miss the people right there.
Yep.
But anyway. Okay, buddy. Well, take
All right,
care.
man. We'll talk soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast. Be sure to subscribe and like the podcast, rate the podcast, and to share it out with all your friends. Also, be sure to check out the Old Virginia Smoke YouTube channel as well. Tune in next week for another great episode of Pitmaster. For companies interested in advertising, please contact Old Virginia Smoke directly via www.oldvirginiasmoke.com. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is edited by Chris Sedenka. Pitmaster, an Old Virginia Smoke podcast, is a property of Old Virginia Smoke, LLC. All rights reserved. Copyright 2022.
Old Virginia Smoke.